In a letter to lawmakers, Yellen doubling down on her outlook of a June 1st X date, saying, in her words, "We have learned from past debt limit impasses that waiting until the last minute to suspend or increase the debt limit can cause serious harm to business and consumer confidence, raise short-term borrowing costs for taxpayers, and negatively impact the credit rating of the United States." President Biden, meanwhile, is set to resume talks with congressional leaders today. Join us now is Mick Mulvaney, former White House Chief of Staff and Actum Strategic Advisors, co-chair, and former U.S. Congresswoman Donna Edwards. Good morning to you both. Good to see you. Mick, I just want to start with you. You were there for some previous negotiations, and I think you worked with Secretary Mnuchin. I don't really understand. Is Treasury Secretary Yellen? I've heard a lot of dire warnings, but is she in the weeds with McCarthy and with President Biden? Is she mediating anything? Do you know? Is she? I haven't heard any. Might help her. Have helped for her to say, "Look, we're going to get this done, calm the markets." She just seems to be sort of playing into the administration's narrative that it's going to be the GOP's fault and it's going to sink us.
Yeah, I've not seen her heavily involved at any point other than going in the press. When I talk to folks in Washington, D.C., Republicans, no one says, "Oh, and by the way, Yellen says this or Yellen said that." She's cheerleading certainly for the administration, which you would expect her to do. It's a political position. But you do sort of have to compare her to how Mnuchin was conducting himself as Treasury Secretary back during the Trump administration. You would think that the Treasury Secretary's job would be to calm the markets, to say, look, regardless of what the politicians do, regardless of what the legislature does and the president, we are going to do everything we can to bring stability to the markets. And she's actually doing the exact opposite. The fact she missed the date, Joe, to the wrong side of the calendar, that's stunning to me. You can come out and say, look, it's late June and have it be late July. That's fine. But you can't come out and say it's late June and then have it be the 1st of June. That's either really, really professional malpractice and incompetent, and she's not an incompetent person, or it smacks of politics. And that's what really concerns me here is that Yellen has contributed to the political turmoil as Treasury Secretary instead of trying to calm the markets, which is what you would hope a Treasury Secretary would do.
But, Mick, are you suggesting the date's not real or that she knew the date was worse than it was and didn't tell the public? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that it would not surprise me that elected Republican officials are looking at this with a raised eyebrow going, wait a second, how did that just happen? And yes, they are wondering to themselves if it's political. Keep in mind, there's a lot of investment banks around doing their own calculation. They're saying this date could be as late as July. There's other reports out there saying the June date might be right. But they're going to be asking themselves, can I believe what Janet Yellen says, or is she trying to politicize this? And that doesn't help negotiations.
Congresswoman, do you want to weigh in on everything you just heard?
Yeah, I don't share that view at all. I mean, Janet Yellen is probably one of the least political persons actually in the administration. I think that she's a straight shooter. I think what she was looking at is seeing the revenues that were coming in, especially sort of after taxes are rolling in, and made an assessment that June is a date. And I think her reinforcing that really, ups the ante for the negotiators and the leaders to really come up with something that's going to keep us from defaulting. And so I'm not going to place this at the feet of the Treasury Secretary. Her job is to let us know when the drop dead date is, and the job of the president and the House and Senate leaders is to come up with what's going to help us avoid a default. And we know that default really just can't be an option. We already see the Chinese sort of jockeying for the yuan to be the national currency. Well, the world currency is the dollar, and we need to keep it that way. But making sure that we have that we pay our bills and that we avoid default.
Well, who do you blame, Congresswoman?
Well, I'm not blaming anybody right now.
Well, we need to. I mean, maybe Secretary Yellen during the 90 days when President Biden was not meeting with Speaker McCarthy and refusing to negotiate, maybe she should have been saying, Mr. President, it's June 1st. You need to do this. We need to do something like this. Couldn't she have taken a I don't know. She just nod when the president talks, or she could have said that, right? She could have coerced him into coming to the table before 2 weeks before the deadline.
This is such a distracting conversation. The reality is that the president met with Speaker McCarthy and the leaders 1 week after Republicans finally came up with their budget number. What was to negotiate if you didn't even know what was on the table? And so the president met. They're going to meet again today. I think it's helpful that they're meeting. Everybody knows that this June 1st date is looming, and we've got Memorial Day in between there, so we know that time is short. I think this is going to get, share the president's enthusiasm, because he's been a part of these negotiations in the past and understands that. But they've got to get to work.